Right, let me just check that we are live in the group. Oop. Right, we are. Beauty. Good. There we go. Here. So welcome. My name's Brian Knight and I live near Melbourne in Australia. And it's actually 5:36 now. I just had to update the Zoom before I could get on and stream. So this is a Monday morning, so it's about an hour and a half or so before the market opens. And so this is a pre-market sort of look at what possibilities there may be for trades this week, and maybe some longer term trades that may suit a different person or a person's lifestyle that they can't be at the charts all the time. Right, let me though first we need to go through this. Welcome, Helen. So let's go here. So welcome to this live Forex analysis session. Please note any trades discussed here are to be classed purely as educational only, and that's because we're a group of people helping each other, and we are not financial advisors. So please only take trades you're happy to take based on your own analysis. Always follow proper risk management to protect your account as taught at IM Academy and the Ninja Group, as each trade carries risk as well as potential profit. In amongst all of that, what I suggest is that you have a demo account that you trade this strategy into. You can prove to yourself that you're profitable, and you're only ever going to be putting 1% on a particular trade on a particular pair at any time anyway. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's how we need to be able to make profits. That's what this is all about. So if the recording of this session goes anywhere and you're not already an exclusive Ninja member, then please get back to the person who referred you. As an exclusive Ninja member, I have access to Go Live, where there are a number of professional traders that trade this strategy and other profitable strategies as well. There's also a full disclosure there. And a little note here about us as live session traders. Okay. So, well, hello to you, Helen, Rian, and Grace.
Hi, Brian.
Right. Hey, how is it? Started to cool down there at all?
It has actually, yes. I've got a jumper on tonight.
Oh, well, that's good. You've got out of that stinky hot weather.
It was like the beginning of autumn, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Well, we've sort of got that beginning of spring happening here. So, unfortunately, though, we're expecting a lot of rain today. The last couple of days have been absolutely glorious. High teens.
You can send some rain here if you want to. We need it.
Oh, well, we need it here too before summer. Okay, no worries, Rian. You just, mic's not connected. That's all right. Right, well, the aim of this sort of session is really to look at what's happening with pairs. And we can look at any number of pairs. It doesn't really matter, but look at higher timeframes and then look down to see what sort of trend we're talking about in the short term. Now, the one thing to remember, this coming Monday is a bank holiday in the UK. So that sort of like London session may not have anywhere near the amount of volume that it normally has, but that doesn't mean there won't be sort of volume coming in at the New York sort of stage. So let me share across the screen and I'll just show you again patterns. We talked about this the last session last week. Just go there. I'll just talk about this here. This was a sort of enter here trade after a push up. It came back down, broke structure across here, get in. That was like worth sort of a 9% with a 5 pip stop loss on it. It's like an hour and 18 minutes in the trade. And it came down to a previous level that we had. If we put on this and look at the sessions that were there, it didn't exactly turn, but it was just before it went into, like, okay, let me look at the colors. So this is Sydney Asian session. This is where London opened. You can see it came down from there, back up. Then when New York opened, we had this push down, but there was this spike that occurred, right? And it actually spiked out both ends pretty significantly. I don't know what sort of news it was. But I'm sort of looking more now at these times, which is like pre-London Open to London Open, where New York opens across and where London finishes. See where London finished? Where is it? It's just here. And then New York had just sort of tailed. So in this is just what I'm seeing as patterns. This is, this is my time. So that was like 10 o'clock at night. When it was midnight. Oh, Byron there too. Welcome.
Hey, hi. How you doing?
Yeah, good. So
Good,
just,
good.
and it depends on what time it is for you. So look, if we change this to London, of course, this is 8 a.m. for London. You've got where are we? That's 6 o'clock. Remember what Jeff was talking about, putting a 6 o'clock line. So if we do that. Yeah. So looking at the movement after 6 o'clock and having a trade out of that, it's just a reference point. For me, that's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and for US, it'll be different from east to west or west to east. Doesn't matter, or where you are in the middle, maybe. But I'm just looking now at things like this when London opens and the change, and when then New York opens and the change. Does that make sense? And then when London finishes and New York takes over and the change. So do you notice that? You see that sort of movement? And this is quite typical of it. So if I just turn that off, and we've got nothing really on here. If you look then, and we can draw, so you've got, for example, a swing low there. You then have, to a certain extent, a swing high there. It comes back up further. If we look there, then here, and then you have a low down there, right? And if I just put, sessions back on, you can see, that's not necessarily, this is still within the Asian session, see how it matched up. Then when it went pre-London, when it went to London, see that turn occurred? It wasn't far after London opened that it changed direction. It wasn't far after when New York came in that it changed direction, right? It did come back up, and then when London came out, you had another swing low to a move as well. So these tend to be, in my opinion, important times, whether, if you're talking London, of course, 8 o'clock, 8:30. Again, here it was like 1 o'clock. What was that? 3 o'clock. And then again would be, 5:30 or so, like that, somewhere around there. Oh, Alistair. Oh, there you go, muted. Oh, no, unmuted.
Welcome to Spain.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're in Spain now.
I'm crashing here, but I won't be on for long.
You're video bombing.
Yeah, exactly. I am. I've been told not to do it. Don't do it. I went, no, I'm going to do it.
You're right. No worries. Yeah. Thanks for posting your journey. It's good.
We've got a thunderstorm here. I'll try. I'll track you tomorrow on the bus, and I'll watch the
Okay.
recording.
No worries.
Have a good
Okay.
evening, guys. Bye.
You too. Bye. That's what happens in these trading groups. People having a good time, which is great. I'm just sort of like looking at that from a sort of a trade opportunity observation. That's all I was sort of talking about here. Okay. Comments? Anything that? See if we change this to say Los Angeles. You know, this is 6. You're talking midnight. You're talking 5 in the morning. Where are we? You're talking 7 in the morning and talking 8, 9 in the morning, somewhere around those sorts of times. Yeah. But the thing is, sorry.
So you got in after that great big spike, looks like.
Yeah. I'll show you. I'll just take session off. I waited for it to actually. So if you look at it from this point of view, I didn't get in until over here somewhere. So what it did is it pushed up and then it dropped down quite dramatically.
Right.
I mean, you can't. Okay, so it is very hard to predict or forecast this drop. And even if you did get in there somewhere, it would pull back up again. So what you want is you want that breaker structure. So if we look here, I'll show you. So if we only look at this bit, so what it's doing is it's going along, it drops, it pulls back, it drops. This is on the 1 minute. You got to remember this. And it looks dramatic, but it's really not.
Right.
So you're creating a high, another high, and I'll just take these things off just so that you can. And if I put this high, low, you can just see what's happened. It creates a high, then a higher high, then it pulls down to make a low. So you go, okay. So if you're watching this at all, or you're coming back to it, or whatever, you go, okay, it's made a high. I'm looking for, and we'll talk about this as if you're wanting to, how do I put this? If we're following this and looking at what trend this is in at a higher time frame, you could look down here and say, oh, the multi-time frames are where they are. Whoops, pull that down so you can see. You could see that the 4 hours still pulling up and other stuff is, dancing around here, right? And it was overbought at that. So you could use lots of different things. Looking at the candles, what we've got is a high, a higher high. So what in my head I say, okay, if this doesn't break this low, if it doesn't break that low and it pulls down and makes a higher high, then it's still in an upward sort of trend. Okay. And in actual fact, I'm really only looking for sells, and I'll tell you in a minute why I'm only looking for sells, because, well, you already know why, because that's actually the trend at higher time frames. Okay. So I don't really want to take buys unless they're going to be great opportunities, and depending on where the stochastics are and a whole lot of other bits. Anyway, so this is saying to me, it broke down and went lower than this. And so I'm going, well, that's okay. Maybe we're in a sell, right? Then what it did is it pulled back up here and made a lower high. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's good, because that means if it makes a lower low here, then on the pullback, we might be looking at a sell. Okay. So
Mhm.
just that's where my head is when I'm watching it, right? Because imagine we haven't seen anything over to the right. It's just as it travels along. So this is a decision-making process. Then it comes along and it makes a higher high. I go, well, shivers. It broke that, it broke that, it broke that, and it went up and made a high. Well, not going to get into that. But then what did it do? It did a dramatic drop, push down, put a big wick out the bottom.
A
and then-
wickety wick, huh?
Absolutely. Very wicky, right?
Wickety wick.
But the point is the body of the candle is well below that low. Well below it. Okay. So when it pulls back up again, it doesn't break this high.
It's a
so
lower
what-
high.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't show it. It is a lower high, correct? Absolutely. But if you look at it, if you look at where that is, it's lower than any of these ones that were previously in here. See
Yeah,
these
I see
here,
that. Uh-huh.
right? Not that, but that was on the push up anyway. So it's created that. So as it drops down, I go, oh, let me enter in because it's trying to push down. Let's see.
Trying to push
And
down.
I didn't enter in on this candle or that one. I actually waited for it to pull back up.
Got it.
So,
Yeah.
so it dropped, it pulled back. I could have entered at that candle or that candle, it doesn't matter, but I didn't. I waited. It pushed down and it pulled back up. Got in around about, you can actually see where is it? If I pull across, no, the thing's not there. Yeah, I got in somewhere here when it pulled back up. It must have been about that candle there, I think. Anyway, I got in there and then down it went. All right.
Yep.
Oop.
Very good.
Moving that. So, well, the point is, it could have quite easily jumped back up and stopped me out. Like I could have lost 1% on it, not a problem. But what it did was it came back up and created that, came back, created that, and then it kept going. Right now, it did go down slightly further. Where is it? Get that off. I don't need that. So I looked at this as a target down here. It did come down to that target, but I actually put my TP. How do I put this? I had my TP back down here. See that dashed line?
Yep,
So
I
that
see
was
it.
and
Yeah.
I probably can't show you, but way over here will be a higher low. I thought it would actually go further, right? But it didn't. So, well, sorry, it did go further. I actually thought it might go down further here. But it only went down to there slightly past. So it profited and then it pulled back up again. And it was sort of a bit against one of my rules is I don't tend to trade on the last day of trading. But there's rules and there's hard and fast rules. So that's that. And then it just basically went into consolidation and once it
Right.
thing. So if you look at the time, and this is a little bit of like if you look at where that was basically midnight. So alarm on, get up. So I had it gone to bed, had a good sleep, woke up. I think it was just quarter to midnight or something. It was waited, saw the high. It did this, pull back. This was now half past midnight. What do you want to call it? Yeah, put the trade on, put a potential profit, go to sleep, and woke up. What time was that? Where did that go? That was like 2 a.m. when I was asleep. It basically profited. It went down to its low at 220, and it had already done its job by what time did I, because this was Saturday morning, I didn't actually get up until 6 o'clock. I did sleep in on Saturday morning
So,
because I'm normally up at like 4:45 for these sessions through the week. So this is my Saturday morning here. So that's that one. And this is based upon a lot of the stuff that I sort of said last week. It's like, I'm just really, to put it bluntly, I've been getting pissed off that I've been missing some very good trades from this New York session that I've seen. And so if you come back to here, when we look at again here, there's another like midnight down again. All right?
so what time is the New York session for you?
Midnight.
Midnight? Okay.
Yeah. So there's that day. If you come back over here, there's just there, midnight there. There's another big move, right? If we come back here again, here, midnight, big move. See that? For me, I'm just showing you. And then if we go back over here, where is it? Is it there? Yeah, midnight move.
Midnight. Boom.
Right, but there's a move also off London back down too. So, well, or this is really London here. See in the afternoon, it's sort of like 6 o'clock or so, my evening, boom, that way, and then New York that way. So I'm just showing you each day. And as we come back here, if you go, that's no 18, 20, yeah, midnight. See the move? Probably not as good, but that move and then back down again. That is probably against what, because it's, anyway, that's in an uptrend in that point. Now I'm just sort of showing you what it is back right now. I could do this as well. This is another, well, and this doesn't matter what pair you're on. It doesn't really matter. Now this could be, now Tom's not on here at the moment, but what I could do, for example, if I'm, and for someone like yourself, Byron, who could take advantage when New York Open, you just get up a bit earlier or something to get ready or whatever. I mean, I don't know where you are in time zones across the states, but to get a trade potential, it's probably not that hard to sort of organise a time that you would be up if it's up earlier for you. I don't know, what's your time zone, Byron?
It's New York.
It is New York. Okay. So
Number 4, UTC 4.
There it is. Yeah. So that would be, for example, it'd be 10 in the morning there. I mean,
I think it
just
starts
depends.
at 8 or 8:30 or something.
Yeah. You can see just there. It's probably 8:30, somewhere around there.
8:30, I think.
Well, you can see the movement in there, or even there, 8 o'clock. See that push, and then it does. Probably. Yeah, which is that higher high there. So what I tending to see is higher highs and lower lows. A lot of the time is being created around those session changeovers. Yeah, it's just something to observe. That's all. Welcome, Cheryl. So it's just something to notice, and that for you, it's like that's 10 o'clock in the morning would have been that trade opportunity, and you'd be out by midday.
Right.
And to get 9% is not a big issue. Now, has anybody been? I mean, Helen probably has been watching Paul's update of some of the things that are happening within the sort of the leaders group.
Oh, the new indicators you've been working with?
Well, it's things, yeah.
I haven't. I
No.
haven't been able to watch it yet, but
Yeah,
I
I
so
watched the one he posted this afternoon.
yeah, overnight for me. I just sort of got to watch it before I came on. So he's, from this sort of point of view, let's have a look at this is still on the 1 minute. I think he's saying he's preferring 2 minute or something, Helen, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did demonstrate it on the 1 minute, but said that the 2 minute was smoother.
Yeah, well, from his point of view. Where have we got it? Well, there's this, but he's using Thingo now, isn't he? Using let's have a look and see.
He's using Pro Trend, which, and I'm not really getting. I'm sure there is some value from it, which I'm not seeing. But the trailing Heikinashis, yeah. So that's just
I don't know whether mine's got the trailing Heikinashis in it. I should have, but we'll see.
Oh, so in his video, he turned them on separately.
Yeah, I know, but they're not in here, are they?
No, I think they are now, but possibly not in the one you've got. They're not in the one I've got either.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It might only be his at the moment. So I'm just going to turn it up. But let me show you this, though, because we still have, I've still trying this one, the trailing Heikinashis. So he's just sort of put it into Pro Trend. It's just anyway. So let's look at this in the same sort of scenario. And I've got some things turned off and on. So I'm only looking for cells. So if we've got here, we've got a cell, all these yellow dots. You can see that dot there. So basically for me, it's broken structure. Pull back, and it's telling me potentially there is a cell. So this is where I basically got in. So drop down, pull back up again, and got in. That's the cell, and kept in the trade. Now, what you could do, and this is where I was sort of leading it to, it's very difficult, and this would be how do I put this? This is like a hands-off or a sort of like a forecast trading method. If you're not there, but like for people in UK and in the US, it's probably a whole lot easier. If though you were to do this and see, let's do a trend line. You were to see this push down here, up, push, like at some point here, you were to go, I really only want a sell out of this. I'm going to put on below, say this, whatever time this was. I don't know. This is 8 hour. Hang on, because I've got to work out it's my time. But anyway, if I look at this and it comes down to this point and I see it push down to there and I go, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this after it pushed down there and it came up here. I'm going to put a sell stop there. Okay. Right on that line, I'm going to have a sell stop. Now, the challenge with that is how much stop loss am I going to put in there? All right. That's the challenge that I have. And what it does is it allows me potentially have a trade, but it doesn't allow me to maximize that trade. I'll show you why. If I
stop out, right?
No, not necessarily. Well, if I have a tight stop loss, it would. But the point is, if I see that there and I could see the highs there, right? This is where I'm seeing it. It comes here, there. So I'm going to go. I'm going to need to put my stop loss up here somewhere. So I'll just leave that. Yeah, I'll just leave that one. No, I'll move it. It's all right. So if I go like, okay, B, I'm going to get into the trade here, right? But I'm going to need to do a stop loss up there. That's like 27 pips. And we've still got, where are we? No. And then we're going to have to work out where our TP might be. Could be there. You're only talking about 1.5% for your trade. Now, this brings up the dilemma, doesn't it? I mean, where you enter, it had it before it came up here. And so, but the point is, you have to do quite a large stop loss. Like, and the point I would make is, if the price never came down here and it just kept going up, then you would never be in the trade and it wouldn't really matter, would it?
Right.
Okay? The issue here is, if you're not here, you have to actually do quite a large stop loss. And for me, this is not viable. This I wouldn't, like, I try not to take a trade that is less than 1 to 5. I mean, if it's 1 to 4.5 or when, you know, like potential, then I might consider it. But I really want it 1 to 5. When you start using this, you really want 1 to 2. So 2 times profit to 1 time risk. Minimum. Okay. For me, I want 5 times whatever I'm going to risk. Because what I'm looking at is the profits at the end of how much I can. Now, what if you watch Paul's video, he's actually been on the charts and scalping moves up and down irrelevant of trend. Would you agree, Helen? Yeah. Okay. So he doesn't concern himself with, is it an uptrend? Is it a downtrend? It's just, is there a buy opportunity? Is there a sell? And we look at percentage. So, and that's okay. That's good. If you can just sit there. But what I don't sit at the chart and do this. So my decision here, and I'll tell you, my decision is when opportunities are available, they're more available in my afternoon from 3 o'clock in the afternoon, my time, which is pre-London Open, when London opens, and just a little bit after that. And then it's actually when New York opens. So I need to sort of be around at those times. Yeah, and that's the decision, or more of the decision. Now, if I don't, I mean, it's not, for me, I laugh about this. I could actually sleep standing up in a broom cupboard with the light on. I mean, I can do it quite easily. So to wake up and then go back to sleep isn't a big deal to me. To other people, it may be. But I've made the decision that as many times I want to, if I can this week, I'll be up at, 11:45 and see what's happening with the market, and probably, I don't know, be back in bed by 1 o'clock, 1:45, somewhere like that, and see what opportunities there might be. Got to remember, it's non-farm payroll this week too, on Friday, this coming Friday. So something to consider. So I'm just looking at this as that possibility. Now, if you wanted to scalp, you could scalp these up and down and up and down and up if you wanted to. Like it allows you to do it. I'm not necessarily into that. That doesn't create fun for me. I want the sort of the bigger moves and picking the times when those bigger moves occur. So if I just turn that trailing off, turn the trailing Heiken-Dashes off, it would be a decision of whether you put in at. Now, for me, is I really sort of need to be around. I can still put a sell stop in, right? That's okay. But I sort of would need to be there before or relatively close to before that trade may trigger. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
And the reason why is because then I can tighten the stop loss. If I'm here, this is market execution, right? If I wasn't here at this, well, you know, say I see this drop and a pullback, right, back up to here, I could then, when it's at that point there, I could put a sell stop and still go to bed if I wanted to. I could put the sell stop further down here and I could have a tight stop loss. But again, you know, these pullbacks are issues because you don't know when. The best option is a market execution if you can do it, yeah, in this situation. Yeah, and for you, you're awake. And for people in the UK, I think you're normally awake around that time too. Let's London, what would that be? Like that's like 3 p.m.
Yeah, it was.
So not such a big deal. So it is important, but not crucial at what sort of time zone you are in the world to be able to sort of take potentially best opportunities. Yeah. Which are swing highs and lows and movement from there. So if we now look, and this is what I want to do, if we still, this is like that 6 o'clock. I did the lines on there. This was something that Jeff had spoken about. And if I go in here and we look at this, this is where there is the 6 a.m. For me, it's 3 p.m. I don't know what that is in US again, but this is the candle. I've looked at what the previous high is and what the previous lows are or low is, and look at that when it breaks out of that range, right? You could have quite easily taken that trade. Yeah.
Yes, you could have.
Just here and back up. And that, if you look at the trailing high, you can see it comes down here, and as it pulls back up there, that's a potential enter, that's a potential enter, and you'd probably get out up here. So this is trading on the 1 minute. It's pretty, if you want to be there at a certain time, watch it within a range and then get a trade out of it. That would be for a long position. This is, again, not taking trend into consideration, higher time frame trends. So either there or there. Say, for example, you don't get in until there, you could really tighten that stop loss up. That could be a couple of pips even. And you're talking until it goes to a purple there, you still, that's 5%. And if you look at it from a timing perspective, to get in there and get out up here, that's like 47 minutes. So it's less, it's 3/4 an hour, basically, that you're in the trade for 5%. So this now, with this indicator, is giving us the opportunity to grab sort of very good profit percentage without having to sort of be too concerned about overall trend. Yeah.
I see,
Now,
I see that. Yeah.
yeah. So if we now go and let's go look here, I'm just going to go to the 4 hour.
That was on
that
1 minute.
no,
You're using the 1
15.
minute on that, right?
It was a 1 minute. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
This is really too hard to see. So I'm just going to take all those pics off. But if we look at this and where it is currently on the 4 hour, it is trending up from, where was this? From August the 2nd, so start of the month to the end of the month, we have creating a high. The issue that we have here though is this is a high, we have a higher high, and that was a downtrend to that point. Right? Now, if you start looking further back and we go back to March, this is still in an uptrend. Yeah?
Yeah.
Still in an uptrend. And from the 4 hour, it's well above the 800. right? As in EMA. So the longer it stays above there, the more likely it's going to come down. Now, if we start looking at the structure of the market, push up, higher low, higher low, high, higher low, higher high, that's going up. Okay. We now have a low. So it's broken that structure there. It has created a higher low. So that break, it is a lower high there, but it has created a high. So if we just look at just this part here, is it now going in a downtrend? No. Right? It could be because it broke, because it broke that structure. But, and you've got to remember, this is on the 4 hour, but the point is it hasn't come down, it hasn't touched the 800, and it's like going away again. As it goes up, we're only getting these little ups and downs, you know, and there's, yeah. Well, it's not, it's sort of like consolidation, but it's still going up, right? It's not really a definite.
What they call that.
Yeah, it's not really, well, it's a channel. It's not really a downtrend, it's channeling up. Right. So what I would need to see is a break of structure here before it comes down. At the moment, it's still looking like it's wanting to go higher. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now, if we look though here, it's a bit conflicting. We've got on the 4 hour, we've got the 4 hour stochastic pulling down, right? It's basically in the middle. It's at the 50. Right? It's not oversold or overbought, you know, like it was overbought. It's pulled back. This is meaning consolidation to a certain extent. Okay, so there's the 4 hour. Are we going to take buy, sells? It's up to you, right? At the moment, this is a little bit undecided. So let's now, we'll go to the 15 minutes.
It did actually break structure though, didn't it, Brian, on Friday afternoon on the 4 hour?
Let me just go back. And we'll go, hang on, just do this. Yes, it broke that structure, but it hasn't broken here. No.
Yeah.
Because for me, it would need to be, you know, down here significant. And also too, using the EMAs, it's not come anywhere near the 100, 800, any of them.
Yeah.
So this is definitely not a, sorry?
What are those EMAs you're using?
Okay. We have a 62. We have I think that one is, let me just take a look, sorry. That is a 100, right? That purple one's a 100. You have a 200, which is that gray one. And then way down here is an 800.
800, okay.
It's not even coming anywhere near. It didn't even touch the 62, which is like the 62 is where it's sort of, you can see it there. Like it didn't even come down to there.
They're spreading apart yet.
Yeah, and I see it pushing potentially further up, Helen. This is on the 4 hour anyway.
Yeah.
And here's really weird because when you look at the stochastic, you'd go like, oh, it must be coming down. Yeah, it did come down, but it didn't really break. It broke structure of the actual previous candles, but it just hasn't come down to take out any of the real lows in it. So we need a better picture of it to be able to, so let's go to the 15 minute. And this is where things become more interesting. And you're right, it created a low and broke the structure, Helen, but it really hasn't made, as I'll say again, come back here, it really hasn't broken any of this low because it's over a couple of days.
It's just the first step in the process, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And it could quite easily keep continuing. I find it interesting that this, I'm just really couldn't understand this when I looked at it. See that high there? I don't know why it's not sitting up on top of that candle there.
Oh,
It just seems really weird, but it's really
Kind
because
of
that's on a wick
bizarre.
there. Yeah, well, I mean, this indicator should really be sitting up there and that. So it's opening out the gap. And yes, it's broken structure there, but it just pulled back at that point. I would need to see this break down and not break this high here to be able to say, yes, it's going into a sell trend. And then if we look here, can you see the 4 hour is pulling down, the 1 hour is down the bottom. So with London having a bank holiday or London, well, UK, whatever it is, bank
on
holiday
Monday,
tomorrow, there will be less volume in it. So we may just get a little bit of sideways movement. So what I do, this is one rule I do follow. It's a bit more of a hard, fast rule. The first 12 to 24 hours of the market open, I don't tend to trade it, or I don't trade it, because I want to see what it's going to, because after a weekend, there's potential sort of news movements, international stuff going on that can change the way it might be from a trend perspective. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't trade like Paul's suggesting and trading with the indicator in the group. I tend to sort of just not do that at this point. I need to understand how that process is going to be working. So there is a bit of news. It's not that much for Japanese. The CAD is still strengthening, if that makes any sense. The RSI is down low. It was oversold at that point. Like when the market opens, there could be a jump. You never know how far it might jump or move because of, I don't know, what's happening in Ukraine or Russia's stuff or oil or whatever it is, right? So I don't want to get into a trade and it sort of knock me out straight away. So then if we come back down to that, into that 1 minute, then if that's where we're going to look at being trading, again, I want to know, this is where price is. So this was the end of the trading week. It just went into consolidation. Whenever there is consolidation, there is not, it can't stay in consolidation forever. And on the 1 minute, this is serious consolidation. It can't stay in that forever. It will need to do a move up or a move down out of it. And it's more likely that it'll probably do, like the 1 hour and 30 at the bottom. It may do a move up before it drops back down because the 4 hour is still on its way down. And then we could use, and again, this is just like, we got to wait and see what it does out of this consolidation. Okay.
makes sense.
Questions about any of this one? It's like, it's just a wait and watch. Like this session is really about like, okay, let's set up potential trade opportunities. And so for me, I'm going to be looking after the, because this will open up in half an hour or so, that the markets will start. It's a Sydney Asian, like probably not a lot. I'll just be watching it, seeing what happens. Pre-London Open, I'll have a look, but certainly I'll be looking at just pre-New York and then into New York and see if there's an opportunity there for me. And so do I need to give you a call, Ray, or what? Or are we going to be up trading buddies at midnight?
Oh, don't know yet. There you go, Brian.
Good. Yeah, I'm
There
just
is,
a bit.
Paul mentioned, I think there's a bank holiday coming up. Right?
Yeah. London it is, yeah. So there might not be a lot of volume.
Might not be enough there, yeah.
Yeah, and if you look at, volumes, this is just a volume here. You can see where at the end of the trading week, there was just absolutely nothing. But if you look, see the, oops, you can see these spikes with that movement. You can see when things start to get more volume, something's going to happen. If you come back over here, you can see the spikes, see those movements. See those movements there, just pre, and then when there's the height of these at the bottom here is really telling you about more volume, more money coming in the market. So there's more push one way or the other direction wise. But if you look this, see this sort of like Sydney, see working off New York back down into Sydney Asian, there's not a lot. And then you got pre-London, it's like you start to see some more money come in and then it sort of dies a bit off. And then you know, it goes through that time where we got here, London moving out, and then it comes into New York, bang, you get all this volume come in. So I'm just sort of observing that. Yeah, anyway, there's a lot more volume coming there at the end of the trading week. So that's CAD JPY. Let's look at Euro AUD, start with. I want to go back out to the 15 because I need to see like more about trend than anything. Whoop, auto that. So if we look at Euro AUD, the trend is down on this time frame. It did break that high there, only just, and then dropped. So there's another basic principle. Every time you have that drop, you'll have a pullback. Drop, you'll have a pullback. And that's what it's done. How far? Don't know. So again, I'm not going to get into this as a trade until it shows me what it's going to do. Is it going to break this low and make a lower low? Or is it going to pull down and make a higher low and then push back up again? Don't know. We'll just have to see. And if we go then to the 4 hour on it, you can see what's it been doing on a higher time frame.
No downtrend.
Yeah, it's a downtrend, right? So it's trending down at the moment. It hasn't created any real highs to break it. So what's it going to do? Pull up, potentially not break this high, and then go down again for another sell and break that low. Does that make sense? So if we, well, whatever it does from here, it could just pull up and then, whoop, oh, what am I doing? Did I muck that up? I did a double. Oh, well, come back and get another one. And then what you got is potentially that. Whoop. I don't know how far, but if we look, that's a 71, 78, 6 here on a fib from that high to that low. That's potentially target area, and then it'll drop back down if it's going to continue this downtrend. Yeah, on the 4 hour. Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
So this is 71, 78. It could come up further. So that's what I'm just saying. Look at here, see what's happening. It's still below that. The 800 is way up here. So that's something to look for. I personally won't take a buy. I wouldn't take a buy with that. I want to take another sell out of it. So that big drop there, there's going to have to be a pullback, potentially the zone or whatever, and then another drop back out to make a lower low. Euro GBP. That's been pulling back up. The euro's been getting stronger against the British pound, but then with the bank closed, or with London banks closed tomorrow, we might not see a lot of movement in there. Just depends. So again, I'd be taking buys from this, but after that push up, we'll probably get a pullback down a bit further. As long as it doesn't break these lows, pull down and then get in for a buy on it. And then NCAD. This NCAD's been a pain. I haven't traded NCAD for ages because it just kept going down and down and down, made a low, it pulled back up into what is the zone, and then it's dropped back down again. So really only sells out of this from at the moment if you want to, and probably on that sort of shorter time frame. Yeah. And then USD CHF. I'm looking at this come back up into this zone here. And then dropping out back down, because if I give you the bigger picture, see how it's creating lower highs there? It may not make it up there because it need to break that high, but we'll just see, because it's in a bit of consolidation over the last few days. Yeah, it may make it up there. It may just drop out. See how the 4 hours starting to pull up? We'll see. Because out of this consolidation of 4 hour, it's going to have to go one direction or the other. It won't stay in this forever. It can't. So consolidation, up it goes. Consolidation, whichever way. You got to work that one out. And it has to show me which way it's going to go. So there we go. So that's it, Ray. I have to get up at 12.
Remember, I was waking up early and that, and you said I was crazy.
Yeah. No, I didn't
And
say
I
you
was
were.
grabbing those
I didn't
pigs.
say you're crazy. I just said like, well, that is crazy.
Can't you sleep? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, the point is, it's like I'm looking for great trades, more of great trades, and just observing the patterns of the market. That's all. We'll see. And it's not hard. For other people in other parts of the world, it's a whole lot easier. You're going to be awake at those times anyway, normally. So any feedback, questions?
Can't think of anything right now.
Yeah. Just have a look at Paul's video anyway, using the indicator he's using and the simplification, just if you want to scalp stuff too. Yes, Helen?
No, I was just going to say that was good. Thank you.
No, pleasure.
We don't have access to that one indicator yet, do we?
No,
Yeah.
not at the moment. But I mean, somebody commented under it, and Paul said very soon.
Yeah.
It's been in the trials for a couple of weeks now, and there's been a number of us that have been trialing it. I mean, David Eisenhofer, or the Hoff, has been exclusively using it and getting very good results. And he has a lot of experience. So, and I think what really Paul and us are trying to achieve is having a set of rules that's going to allow you to enter and exit the trade with a set of rules to give you a maximum sort of success or profit out of it. Doesn't mean you will win every one of them. I mean, if you watch the video that Paul put in, I think there was a number of trades. I mean, he lost 4 at 1%, but basically he ended up getting, I don't know, what was it, 32% or something out of, and I don't know how many, over how many trades there. But you can do that like in waking hours.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you have to take all of those. It just, I mean, some people starting out might just take the 4 that didn't actually, that lost 1%. So, but you've got to take multiple trades then to be able to get the profits. I think Paul's just saying,
Use 4% to gain 30. Is that what you're saying?
well, yeah, that's really what he's done.
Yeah.
But the point I'll make is you need to take a number of trades for that to actually occur. And you need to follow, that's just on one pair. I think it was Euro USD.
Yeah.
it was just one pair that he followed. Like we've got a whole heap of pair. Just pick one and follow it.
Yeah, just choose one and follow it. Huh?
Yeah, like they all go up and down and
Oh, yeah,
sideways.
Yeah. Just have to be
So,
patient.
yeah, and he wasn't using harmonic scanner. He wasn't using, anything else other than just this indicator on it and the set of rules that are being,
Created.
locked into for people to follow so that they can be profitable from the start. That's what it's about.
Right.
I mean, if people break the rules that are set, then they're going to be potentially less profitable. That's all it means. Yeah. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, I've got a heap on today. I've got, I think the sun's just about to start to break through here, or the dawn. And so I've got chooks to feed, chicks to feed, sheep and lambs to put out of their holding yard so they can go roam, take Claire to work, and then I've got some online sessions I'm on. So I better get my day going. But look, this is again, if you don't take the time to analyze what's happening in the market, it's very difficult for you to be able to forecast. That's the key to take away from this. So let's see if we can get some trades, potentially. Tell us what's happening anyway. Yeah, we'll just see what happens. All right.
Appreciate it.
And there's a chat group that we have. I'm pretty sure you're in it, Byron. If you want to,
Yes.
if you're in there or you want to be in there, just reach out to me and I can put you into that chat group. But, people like Ray comments in there and lots of other people put things in there of like, oh, did you see this? This is about to have a look at that, dude. That sort of stuff. So it doesn't mean that you have to be there all the time. All right. Until I'll be on same time, same channel, same, place tomorrow. If anybody watches the recording of this and they find some of this information useful, just, make a comment if you want, or you've watched the recording, that'd be great. And thank you for everyone that's here online with me live. So,
well, thank you.
Bye.
No worries at all. Take it easy, everyone. Ciao.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.